Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, depending upon where you are in the city. Welcome to From the Halls of Justice. Thank you for joining us today. And my colleague and partner, producer, Murvet Arnstein. We're in the studio with our very special guest, and I'm going to introduce everyone because Murvet is going to lead off and start with the interviews. First of all, to my left, we have Mr. Daniel Hales, and he is the president of Citadel Law Firm, and it is just wonderful to have you here with us. He has about 4 different degrees, and he is an absolutely marvelous person, and he does estate planning and probate, business, taxes. He's all around great. We also have with us Mr. Craig Richter. I was going to say that. I got it right in the green room. Mr. Craig Richter, and he's a teacher. We also have with us his attorney and mine, Mr. Bill Rehwald, and he is the president. And please say the name of your firm because I always mess up the last gentleman's name. So you're with
Rehwald, Glasner, and Chalif.
Very good, Chalif. I would have gotten that. So we are going to start off the show with Mr. Rehwald and Mr. Craig Richter. See, I knew that. It's marvelous that, what grade do you teach?
Teaching 5th grade right now.
5th grade, that's amazing. So my partner and colleague, who everyone always says is so quiet, but she's a deep thinker. I'm going to let you start off firing at these gentlemen.
Okay, well, first of all, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Pleasure
to be here.
You are in the field of education. Tell the audience about your experience in the education field.
Well, this is now year 36 for me in public education. I spent 9 years as a teacher in South Orange County, and then 3 years as an assistant principal there as well, and then 20 years as a principal, elementary principal, in South Riverside County. Before coming to Santa Barbara, and I was a principal for 3 years in Santa Barbara, and now this 4th year I am currently a teacher.
Beautiful.
Well, now in 2010, you were a principal of an elementary school in the Santa Barbara area, and something happened that has caused you to be removed from that position. Could you tell us what happened?
I was asked in the winter of 2010 to participate in a annual community prayer breakfast in Santa Barbara. And the reason I was asked is because the prayer breakfast this particular year was to focus on celebrating and honoring educators. And so they wanted to produce a video that would solicit businesses in the area to support the breakfast by providing breakfast for the teachers, giving them gift cards, such as that.
That's
so
nice.
We had several people do a video, and that wasn't thought of in a very positive fashion by my superiors.
The video.
The video.
So were you the only one doing the video?
No, actually I was one of 3. The superintendent of a neighboring school district was on the video as well, and then I was second, and then a teacher from the local high school was on the video.
What happened?
Well, the video itself was on the website for the community prayer breakfast, and one of the board members viewed the video and apparently did not care for it and notified the superintendent, who then contacted me, and things spiraled from there.
How do you know that your removal as principal was connected to the prayer breakfast?
By what was told to me by the superintendent, and then also several months later in my evaluation. In fact, I'll go ahead and read a quote from the second sentence of the evaluation.
Good idea.
In the spring of 2010, an incident occurred that brought into question your ability to discern the big picture issues of the separation of church and state.
Oh my goodness. There's just so much I want to say. So, All right, so did your supervisor ever make critical comments about religious issues prior to this event?
Yes, one particular event, about a year previous to that, we were contacted by a local church nearby to the school where I was principal. They wanted to sponsor apparently it happened in years previous, but that was my first year at that particular point in time. They sponsor an Easter egg hunt, and they wanted to make it known to the children that there was an Easter egg hunt on the Saturday before Easter, and they used the school grounds for the Easter egg hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I approved the advertisement of that because my thinking was an Easter egg hunt is not a religious activity. Mm-hmm. So therefore I approved it, and then got a phone call the following Monday saying you should not have done that because it was sponsored by a church. And I apologized, and apparently there were a couple parents who called, thought there was some affiliation, but there really wasn't. But I explained to them that an Easter egg hunt is not a religious activity. Anyway, that was the one thing that was mentioned. And then also on the school grounds, as many schools in the area have what's called a Good News Club, mm-hmm. which is sponsored by a Christian organization. They rent out a room after school to provide like a Bible study for kids and families who might be interested. It's nothing that's mandatory by any means. It's all strictly approved by parents. I had no involvement in that community, on that Good News Club, but anyway, that was brought up also during the conversation about the community prayer breakfast and referencing the Easter egg hunt, and then they brought the Good News Club, and I had no involvement at all in the Good News Club. In fact, the interesting thing about it is that there were only 2 students at my school that were in attendance of the Good News Club, and they were brother and sister. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really a significant situation by any means. Okay,
I've got 2 questions. I would like to know, number one, I wish I could have seen this video, because I want to know, what did you do on the video that was so radical? And also, did you attend the prayer breakfast? So first, what happened on this video?
Well, the video my portion lasted 30 seconds at the most. Mm-hmm. I introduced myself, and I can't quote it exactly, but I talk about that teaching is a noble profession, and teachers work really hard to educate the children here in America. Okay. And I'm asking the local businesses to support their local teachers. Again, that lasted 30 seconds. I was intending to attend the prayer breakfast, but with all the bad feelings coming toward me, I chose not to do that, thinking I, at that point, was trying to resurrect my job.
Wow. Okay, so, and that's why you did not attend the prayer breakfast. Correct. Because you wanted to take care of your job.
Was the prayer breakfast open to all faiths?
Yes, it was. Yes, all faiths. In fact, again, I did not attend, but I did find out later that the mayor of Santa Barbara did attend the prayer breakfast, and she's Jewish, so it was more of an ecumenical event. Again, the purpose being to celebrate and honor teachers.
Was the prayer breakfast going to be held at the school or somewhere else?
No, it was held at, I forget the location, but it was not held on any school grounds. It was a community hotel, like a civic center, kind of an idea.
What happened at the prayer breakfast?
Again, I was not in attendance. I don't really know specifics, but I do know that they had breakfast. They were prayed for.
So it was a prayer and a breakfast.
Prayer and a breakfast. And the teachers also received some gift cards, I believe, for $100 each to help support their, because as we all know, teachers spend a lot of money out of their own pocket to buy things for the students. So this is a very, very nice gesture. Mm-hmm. And I, quite frankly, find it hard to believe that anybody would really be against such an event, regardless of their religious perspective.
Now, you filed a lawsuit. What are you seeking?
I think I'll defer to my attorney for that.
Okay.
Well, when we filed the lawsuit, Mr. Richter was still the principal of his school district, and we were in hopes that we could get into a dialogue with someone to say, look, would you just put something in writing that says that all individuals, all teachers have a right to participate in religious events on their own time. One fact that hasn't come out through this discussion today, Craig did all this on his own time, and so they are going after him for doing something that was on his private time, and he does not have to give up his religious beliefs in order to become a principal in that school district, and so that's the main focus of it. Obviously, in the last 6 months, they have removed Mr. Richter from his position as a principal. They would have fired him, I believe, my opinion, but he's, because of his length and tenure in the education field, he has what they call fallback rights, and he has a right to fall back to a teaching position, which he is elected to do, and that's why he is a 5th grade teacher today. They had to scurry around to find a spot for him, but they have done that. So, and we're still in the midst of litigation, and we will be seeking an order from the court reinstating him to his position as principal, because it really will affect him in the long run in terms of his professional career. It's a demotion. I think everybody understands that. So that is what we're seeking.
That's good. I'm happy. I want you to fight, really fight. I must say, several years ago, I was an assistant preschool teacher, and it was one of the jobs that I really, really loved. And the teachers that I worked with, they were just marvelous people, and thank God I had another part-time job, and we would many times go out and purchase items for the children in the classrooms, you know, because I just couldn't see them going without. I have to say, it was one of the jobs that one of the best jobs I really, really loved. I really did. The people were outstanding, and those kids were beautiful, and I probably spent more money on that job than any, you know, with the exception of shopping for myself sometimes, than any other position I ever had. And I think that's awful. That's a lot of chutzpah. That's a lot of nerve for somebody to criticize you for doing something on your own time, and for your religious beliefs, and you being a principal at the same time. I think that's crazy. So the topic, I forgot to mention the topic, is religious liberty. So I hope you fight, and I hope you beat them up. Can I say that? Maybe I don't want to get in trouble for that, but yes, I do.
Can we get you on our jury?
Okay. I have jury duty coming up in October. So, all right.
I think that should be pointed out as well. Craig mentioned that this was a community prayer breakfast. I believe it's been going on for 52 years. This was 52nd. Yeah. It was the 52nd annual prayer breakfast, and the person that actually asked him to do the video was not any clergyman. It was the guy who runs the local Unity Shop, which was, well, Craig, you can probably explain more about what the Unity Shop is.
The Unity Shop is an organization that is there to help people who are in need, whether it be clothing, primarily clothing, but also food. It's well known throughout Santa Barbara, and people really participate, and they have an annual telethon, that sort of thing. So he's the one that's in charge of that organization that's asked me to do the video.
And that organization was founded by whom, Craig?
Well, Kenny Loggins was a participant in the formation of the Unity Shop.
Does it matter what faith he is? I mean,
I have no idea. Okay. I don't think it makes a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
And weren't you even saying good things about the role of being an educator and the school in your appearance on the video?
Yes, I was. Yeah, yes, I did.
And I think what Craig was trying to reiterate is we sometimes devalue teachers, or at least they feel devalued. And I think that what this event was intended to do was to bolster the self-esteem of the teachers. You really did choose the correct profession to get into, because you are helping kids. You're unlocking a mind, and sometimes teachers just sometimes lose that sight of that. And here comes the community in general to come around them and affirm them. That sounds to me like something that's good, not something that's bad that you should be punished for.
Yeah, this should have been a very positive experience, both for the community and for the school and for teachers.
And for the school district at large. Yeah.
When I was a child, one of my best teachers, we were all upset when they promoted him to a principal. I'll never forget. It was like I was either like third, fourth, and fifth grade, and the mothers loved him, and because he kept us little girls, he used to tell us he would love to pull our ponytails, and so instead of running around having my mother, press my hair and have it down so I could wear it down long and everything, he kept us little girls, because since Mr. Randall liked to pull ponytails, we'd have a ponytail here and 3 ponytails there. I wore ponytails until the 5th grade, and then he was promoted to a principal, and it just broke our hearts. But he inspired us, to read and to do our homework, and teachers play a big part in our kids growing up. So we should get behind them in the community, especially when we have people that care about our kids so much and we can't be there. And so I really admire what you're doing. So
thank you.
Well, Mr. Rehwald, how did you get involved? I mean, he lives in Santa Barbara County and you're in Los Angeles.
I participate with a group called the Alliance Defense Fund. It's a nonprofit organization that defends religious liberty issues, and they have spent considerable time and money educating lawyers on how to fight for religious liberty. And they put on some of the best conferences and so forth and so on, and then you stay on the list. But part of it, you've got to give pro bono hours back to the community as part of what they're doing, which all the lawyers want to do. We all participate in some fashion or another, not just defending liberties, helping organizations with their legal issues and so forth. But the Alliance Defense Fund called me on the telephone and said, would you be interested in representing Mr. Richter in this matter? And so it's a team effort between the Alliance Defense Fund and the firm, and we are taking this extremely seriously. It seems like we have religious phobia in our country. This afternoon it's September 10th, and tomorrow we're all thinking about the 10th anniversary of 9/11. And I think, we were discussing outside the fact that there's a big problem in New York City over this whole issue, that they are not going to allow any religious participation in the ceremonies. And they partly do it under this guise of that there is supposed to be a complete wall of separation between church and state. And I know that's going to continue to be a big debate and so forth. I think we're going to be missing something if we continue to take that that view that we should just privatize religion and not allow it into the secular place. I want to be careful about making that kind of broad, sweeping statement, but there is a place for the prayer for people to come together. Recalling the story of Benjamin Franklin at the Constitutional Convention when it was raucous and everything else, and Benjamin Franklin, who is not the most religious of persons, but called everybody to, let's get together and pray, let's come together. And I think we can come, religion is seen as more a dividing factor instead of a unifying factor, and I think maybe we should be able to see it as a unifying factor, and maybe we can grow in this country through some of these kinds of experiences.
Well, I know as a pastor's daughter, one of the situations that I was placed in at one point, we had photographs taken for the firm I was at. And one of the pieces of jewelry I had on, in the photograph was a cross. It was a diamond cross. And when the photographs were taken, I was approached, and the gentleman asked me if I would mind taking it off because it was going to be representing our office and part of the firm. And I said, yes, I did mind taking it off. I'm going to keep it on, and you can take my photograph with this cross on. And so what happened was they took the headshots, they took the photographs, and I still have them. And then the one that he elected to post shows my face, my head is cut off partially, and the cross is cut off. You know?
Is that right?
So it was like an $1,800 photo with, because I guess he didn't want to put the cross on there. But it's really just it's my faith. It's who I am, and it's like you can't separate water from wet. You know, that's how close it is. And so I am who I am, and your beliefs make up who you are. So when do you think, are you going, well, can you tell us about that? When's your next hearing, or can you talk about that at all?
We're in pre-trial discovery at the present time, and that's slowly coming to an end. We've been taking a lot of depositions. Trial in this matter is early next year in the Central District of the Federal Court here in Los Angeles.
Can we get retroactive pay for him?
Well, certainly, so the problem the school district has run into in this thing is that when they demoted him back, or when that took place, they weren't able, they couldn't reduce his salary. So at the present time, we're okay. We're not sure about what happens next year, and that's going to be the wild card. That's why we're more interested in simply seeing an order that returns him to his status as a principal, as the primary focus of what our relief is. We're not looking for the money angle, so to speak. It's not about
money's not the issue.
Okay. Good for you. Mr. Rehwald, a man with a cause. I like that. Go get him.
And Bill, the point you made earlier about the fact that Craig was doing this on his own time, you know, even if you take a very strict view of separation of church and state, what he does with his own time, what anyone chooses to do with their own time, as long as it's legal, really shouldn't be punished by those that might be in a superior position back at one's employment. It doesn't seem like the school board would have a leg to stand on a case like this.
And we didn't go into a lot of reading of the detail. They made some allegation in there that he got on the video and said that he was a employee of the particular school district, which the school district is not by name mentioned. Now, his school name was placed superimposed on the video, and that's the closest thing that they have. But the name of the school is so generic. There's probably about 10 or 15 schools in California with the same name, for heaven's sakes. So,
and the intent was not to, I was not representing the school district. I was just saying, I'm a principal. Superintendent says he's a superintendent. He says he's a teacher. We're just stating who we are to add credibility to the fact that the breakfast was about honoring educators. So, but certainly I was not there to represent the school district by any means. That
even if you had have mentioned who the specific school district you were employed by, it's not a crime to mention where one works. It's a free country. It's a public school system, and just stating on a video who you work for or with shouldn't be a good reason to be punished for it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
We completely agree with you, and we wish that you were on the school board in that district so that you might have been able to tell them, or maybe that wish they had called you for advice in the first place before they had acted. Either way, it just seems like that there are some people up there who want to completely throw any mention of God or religion out of the school system. They want to make it a completely neutral subject. And the unfortunate part is, the reality is, we're a spiritual country, and we better all get along, even if we believe differently. And I'm sure that if we took a poll here of the 5 of us, we'd probably say we believe differently. But that doesn't mean I can't love you as a creature that was created by God. And that's what I think we need to be able to do, is embrace each other and embrace each other's differences.
Well, and this nation was founded on religious freedom.
Yes.
That is part of our history.
That is.
Very much so.
Wow, you guys are pretty good. I guess that's why you're attorneys. Anyway, thank you for joining us today on the show from the Halls of Justice. Please, we are doing this as a community service. So if you happen to hear anything on the show, or if you have any questions of your own that we don't address, there is an email address that you can email and write in your questions, and we'll address that. If there's a topic that you would like to see addressed, let us know. It's wanda24@yahoo.com, and we're here for you. We're trying to serve the community. So thank you for joining us on From the Halls of Justice. Thank you to my wonderful colleague, murvet. Are there any closing remarks? And because we're wrapping it up, and we'll see you next week. Anything?
That's it. See you next week.
You're so classy. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.